Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do a book review of Feet of Clay, written by Terry Pratchett. This is a fantasy novel, first written and published in 1996. It is the 19th Discworld novel and the third novel set within the City Watch character subseries. So first of all, for context, what is the Discworld itself? It is, as you might expect, a flat disc-shaped world which, as you might not expect, rests on the back of four very large elephants which by themselves stand on the back of a very large world turtle called Greater Chewin, which swims through space as though it was water. It sounds a very strange concept, and frankly it is, but it works extremely well with the magic and the world and the whole sort of strangeness of what he's trying to do in the Discworld books. And personally, I think it works unbelievably well. It adds humour and just that sort of little sarcastic wry smile at every moment, which you can't help but enjoy. So, first of all, now a synopsis. The synopsis of Feet of Clay is, quite simply, that there is a murder in the city of Ankh-Morpork, which is essentially Terry Pratchett being very sarcastic on the various stereotypes of London, England. Now, this murder is a little bit unusual because nobody's entirely sure if it is entirely a murder and how it was caused exactly, because it's definitely a death in the city and it's certainly mysterious, but it's a bit strange. And though the City Watch get involved, obviously led by Samuel Vimes and Captain Carrot, and he basically is trying to, with the help of obviously the rest of the Watch, trying to figure out not just merely what the crime is, if there was a crime, what it was, how it worked, and who caused it. Yeah, a real whodunit of a mystery. This is very much the a Discworld noir sort of crime thriller. The feel of it is fantastic. It's got a slightly different feel, maybe than some of the previous books, which I think is fantastic. It's got a kind of a darker edge to it in certain places, but the sense of sarcasm and fun is still brilliant. And that is to do with the plot, which then continues after this point with them discovering that the guilty party or guilty force behind this maybe murder is a golem, and this is where golems are introduced into the Discworld. Golems are basically big sort of clay giants. Basically, they are very large. They're about 8 foot tall, probably. They are baked in essentially very specialist ovens, and they function with holy words that are literally on little pieces of paper inside their head, and they are designed to do all the really messy work. And that phrase comes up quite a lot. They do the messy job that nobody else wants to do. And let's just say the golems start interacting with people, and this starts creating tension because there are many golems throughout the city doing all the unpleasant jobs. Nobody really likes the golems because they're just silent workers. Everybody finds them frankly creepy, and this starts getting tension. People start getting scared of the golems because of they've been made to do all the unpleasant work for many years. Making somebody or something do very unpleasant things for a very long time. Yeah, people are worried that they might decide that a little bit of revenge is in mind, even though golems are programmed essentially like machines, for all intents and purposes, to obey its master. That's what they are designed to do, and they can't function without it. Or are they? This question of there's something slightly off somewhere to do with a golem, probably, but nobody's entirely sure what, or there's something there happening, is what's all the mystery about, and the strange intrigue, and frankly creates a brilliant environment and a brilliant plot line. And part of that brilliant plot line is to do with the characters. Now, the City Watch are a brilliant group of characters. They are very mixed and varied in scope and personality. You've got Samuel Vimes, who is the head of the City Watch. He's a normal guy, from a very humble background, who's now in quite an important position, relatively speaking, and let's just say he believes in justice and truth and doing the right thing, and basically don't get in the way of him if you think that you've committed a crime, because he'll just get annoyed, which is generally inadvisable. Then there is Captain Carrot Iron Founderson, who is a 6.5-foot dwarf by adoption. He is a very interesting character. He's got a very interesting background story, which you will know if you've read other Discworld novels. He's a very friendly person, almost supernaturally friendly. Everybody seems to like him, even when he's arresting them and putting them in the prison cell. There are many other interesting characters like Sergeant Angra, who is a woman most of the time, apart from when she's not. There is the two sergeant, that is Frederick Cullen and Nobby Nobbs, who are a brilliant comedy double act, pretty much, for all intents and purposes. They're both considered the sort of stupid ones in the Watch, relatively speaking. They tend to believe the first thing they're told and blunder on from that, but they are very useful and brilliant characters in their own right, and they are genuinely nice people. And I want to mention, you have Detrius the Troll. Detrius the Troll is one of my favourite of the City Watch books. He's a former character in prior pre-Watch books. He's considered this big stupid troll, but actually he's not quite as stupid as he appears. Yes, he's very single-minded, and he does need a bit of a running start, to say the least, to actually get going on things, but he's certainly not stupid. It's just different from other people, and he works really well as a sergeant because he's big, strong, got a loud voice, and as far as Vimes is concerned, he's a brilliant sergeant, because he would just be patiently asking you whether you murdered somebody for 6 hours until you actually say, yes, I did murder him, can you please tell me who I murdered? Out of, frankly, sheer frustration and aspiration, as the case may be. Now, the environment that all of the guards work in is the city of Ankh-Morpork, which is basically T. Pratchett being very sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek about all of the stereotypes that exist in London, England, essentially. So you have all of the apparently randomly placed historical buildings that are scattered throughout London. Therefore, Ankh-Morpork, you've got odd historical buildings all over the place. The bare characters just bump into them. You have odd, quirky characters everywhere. You have street traders all over the place that are willing to go up at any spectacle. You have obviously the population who are equally willing to go up at anything that happens nearby. You have the little back alleys where obviously people can run up and down and criminals can run up and down, and you have guards chasing them throughout the place. You have interesting rooftops where things can happen on, people can peer over and all sorts of things. You have the guilds. You have an assassin's guild, a thieves guild, a butcher's guild, as the case may be. And this bunch of guilds, combined with the characters and everything else, creates a very interesting dynamic. And obviously the city is run by Lord Havelock Veronari, who is a very Machiavellian figure. He's this gaunt, apparently harsh figure, but he knows how to make a city run. And he's got everybody competing against themselves so efficiently that they don't try to overthrow the actual running of the city. They're more interested in just squabble between themselves. And that leads to basically a very efficient and, frankly, for the most part, fairly profitable situation for all involved. Nobody's aware of this, but apart from Veronari. But he's a brilliant character, Veronari. And he does come into the book because, obviously, Vimes, as the chief of the City Watch, reports to him, and the interaction between them are brilliant, frankly, because Vimes is considered Veronari's terrier, for intents and purposes. Veronari says it's a crime, and Vimes, as the policeman, he's a possessive policeman, frankly, will run after them repeatedly and won't let go. A dog with a bone type idea, which works extremely well. As far as ideas and themes in Feet of Clay is concerned, the first one is the fact that this is a crime noir type novel. It is dark and gritty, the tensions are running high. Obviously a lot of the crimes and suspicious goings on are happening at night in this novel, and frankly this creates a brilliant atmosphere and a brilliant set of tensions between certain characters and certain groups of characters within the novel, which frankly creates a really enjoyable read because you want to know how the groups interact and just what the groups are, because some of them groups are relatively hidden until obviously certain moments where they are revealed. Of course, there are some hidden twists and turns and some brilliant plot points, and this is just a brilliant idea for a theme and a atmosphere for the novel. And as far as the other main point about this book goes, it is frankly discussing slavery and a repression of a people, because the golems may have been created by people with words written by holy figures inserted into their heads and they must obey master at all costs, but like anything, just because they were originally created as essentially almost like machines doesn't mean they are brainless automatons. They can think for themselves and they have to be able to think for themselves to do their job. So therefore they have personalities and they are basically becoming alive over time. Some people, a very small minority, actually do believe that they are, for all intents and purposes, people, but they are not really believed, and even they themselves are often unsure of whether golems can be treated as an actual people, or whether they are still more, just a thing to do work. And this is basically discussing the idea of a majority group, or at least what they believe they themselves are the majority. They are the sort of ruling figures, the ones doing all the trade and all the work, that sort of thing. What they will do to a smaller group who are doing the sort of messier work, the basic stuff, moving things about, all the crude work, so to speak, what they will make that group suffer, and also the lack of rights that the ruling group, which has lots of rights, responsibilities and abilities in the world that it can do, but it will inflict upon that smaller group, and the lack of rights it allows the smaller group to have. I mean, it's basically, frankly, racial equality in a lot of respects. They're discussing in a really interesting way. It's very personal, very brutal in some ways, but Pratchett still manages to discuss it in a way that you never get depressed reading about this. Yes, it may be a blatant reference to equality and slavery and obviously, racism, but it's not depressing reading about this. He does it with a smile and a certain wit that is just enjoyable to read about. So yes, reading about racism and equality is fun and actually will make you laugh, but also making you deeply think about what he's trying to say. You'll be like, that's really funny, but also that's actually a significant point, something that maybe I should have a think about after the book ends. And indeed, obviously, for me, it is something that I've thought about a lot since the book has ended over many years. And personally, in some way, I would say this is a very good Discworld novel. Brilliant plot, brilliant characters, obviously being the City Watch, with some very interesting, deeper meaning to do with the slavery and equality and such. And I would greatly recommend this as a Discworld novel and as a fantasy novel. Although personally I wouldn't start with this one. Although I suppose technically you could. I mean, the characters do speak for themselves for the most part, but personally I would start with earlier Sea Watch novels at the minimum, if not earlier on in the series overall. With that said, that is it for this video. So if you've read this or you would like to and you'd like to talk about it, then please leave a comment in the description, in the comment section below. All of my social media links can be found in the description box below, as they always are. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.